Welcome back to Truth Speak. As promised, we're going to continue with Christianity and feminism, and we're going to focus on abortion. I'm going to try to thread the needle here, and this might take a few videos. The goal is to communicate both sides of the situation, and probably where all the controversy stems. But I want to illuminate what Christians probably feel and what pro-choice folks feel, and the reason why these two don't need to necessarily be at odds with each other. Okay, if we start from the Christian side, I understand why most Christians see abortion as a terrible thing, and I'm not saying that it is or it is not, but I want to give you a way to view that and make a decision for yourself. One of the things about Christianity that I know most people are familiar with is abstinence. The Bible advocates for you to wait till marriage before engaging in relations with anyone. And of course, you could make the argument that in the Old Testament there were such things as concubines and other things such as that. But regardless, you cannot deny that there was a structure to it more comparative than what we have today with our current dating scene, where it's ubiquitous for people to engage in relations, and it is considered the norm, is considered acceptable. And that this isn't a commentary on that as of yet. This is just more a focus on the choice making, because remember, if in consistency with my other videos, everything in life is a choice. And as you make the choice to engage in a relationship and to engage in sexual relations, Christians see this as, well, then you may be opening up yourself to these consequences and you shouldn't run from them, which technically is kind of the way that they see abortion. Of course, pro-choice individuals are like, well, it's a woman's body, it's their choice, they should have the right to do what they decide. And I actually agree that you have a right to do whatever you decide, but I want to make sure that that decision that you make isn't that, hey, this is just a bunch of fatty cells, or hey, this doesn't matter, it doesn't mean anything. It really does, and I want to illuminate what that is. Well, you have the Christian side, which teaches abstinence. So if pregnancy occurs from that kind of situation, a Christian or somebody who reads the Bible could see that as a position in which you should take care of the child. It is part of your actions, and this is the consequence. And one of the things I bump into when I'm talking to people regularly is they'll have sex and they'll be like, well, my pull-out game is strong. We use this protection, we use that protection. Well, protection fails every single day, and most of them are not prepared for the consequences, and they're not thinking about them because they're encouraged not to think about them. They're encouraged to just have fun, that there's nothing serious about this relationship until a pregnancy happens. And that's what's interesting, right? Because when you look at the statistics, which again, I always encourage you to go and search these things out on your own. There's WebMD, there's the CDC, there's the Alan Guttemacher Institute. You can definitely look through all of these statistics that they have. The most common reasons for an abortion is that people are unready. They're unready to have a child, or they're worried that from a financial standpoint that they may not be able to take care of and support the child. And there is even more, now there is rape and incest, but for most of those statistics it seems to be about 1%, but that could arguably be up or down considering how many people don't actually report a rape or an incest situation for shame or for whatever other reason. But it's interesting when you take the majority of the common reasons that, I'm not ready yet, or it's not the time in my life due to a career or something like that, or they're worried about the medical condition of the child and what quality of life the child may have once they are born. Those decisions are interestingly selfish, aren't they? And I'm not trying to bundle this in any way. Selfish is really the word for it. Having this child would interfere with the way that I perceive my life could be. If I choose to continue going down this path without a child, maybe my life will be like this. But if I have this child, they will be this burden in this way or that way. And don't get me wrong, having a child is indeed a huge responsibility. But it's a responsibility that I think you should be educated to accept the moment that you decide to have sex. Because contraception fails every single day. And to believe that because the quantity of times that you have escaped this consequence would lead you further down the road of never having that consequence is folly. To say it in the shortest sense, it's folly. Now, the interesting thing, those reasons that I mentioned, financials, time to support the baby, the quality of life of the baby, this is where I'm going to thread the needle, because now I come back to the pro-life individuals, or the individuals that claim to be Christian and that really put feather behind these laws to restrict abortions. If you notice that most of the reasons that people have an abortion in the first place is because of financial or time or finding ability to support this child, they're unready to support this new life, why not help them do that? All of the money, the time, the energy that is spent in creating a law to restrict this one, restrict that one, and you go to meetings with only people who agree with you, and so you just stand and shout and rile up a crowd, when all of you could band together. And why not go to the abortion clinic? Not antagonistically, but if you see a young lady and she's contemplating an abortion, be like, hey, we will help you. Join us, we will support you. It's your choice to do what you want to do, but we will support you. Because it's interesting, you want to create a law to force these folks to have that child, but then you don't want to help on the flip side. Because that's the question there. Are you willing to help raise that child? If you want to force them to have the child, then a lot more of you need to be out and forced to help raise the child. That is the kicker. Now, if you notice, there are things on both sides, because like I said, the choice to have one is selfish in the first place. But over here, if you notice that that's what's going on, then why not help? Is this side also being selfish or just political? Or, therein lies the question. So that's part of the reason for the controversy. Because on this side, they're struggling, it's almost like cognitive dissonance. You shouldn't be having sex in the first place. You should be abstinent. You should do this. Well, we already had sex and we weren't abstinent. And now there's a baby that's possibly there. And I don't know what to do. I'm unready. Help them. That's the goal here. That's how we find middle ground. Now, if this person still chooses to do it, that is their choice, and that is valid by the law as it stands today. And it's dangerous for this side to force their will on this one and say, no, you can't have that child. Because now you are definitely dooming the quality of life of that child. No matter which child, no matter which decision they make, as long as they have that child, they did not want to have the child and they were forced into it. What kind of life are you creating for that offspring? More on this later, but thank you guys for listening.